In the world of his beloved game, Cross Reverie, Takuma Sakamoto, an isolated gamer, finds himself transported with the appearance and abilities of his in-game character, the Demon Lord Diablo. During this unexpected journey, he encounters Rem Gallia, a Pantherian, and Shera L. Greenwood, an elf, who inadvertently become magically bound to him as his slaves. Seeking refuge, the trio settles in an inn located in Fultra City, where they come across Celestine Baudelaire, the leader of the Mage Association. Rem and Shera wear slave collars that cannot be removed or destroyed, but Celestine assures them that she will find a solution. Diablo, suspicious of Rem keeping secrets, compels her to privately confess that she harbors the sealed Demon Lord Krebskalm within her since birth. Only Celestine is aware of this, and they have been diligently working on a way to extract and defeat Krebskalm without harming Rem. Diablo pledges his assistance in solving her predicament. Later, while Diablo takes a stroll, an irate mage named Galuk launches an attack, unleashing a colossal salamander that breathes fire. To his surprise, Diablo effortlessly dispatches the creature, proudly declaring himself as Diablo, the demon lord from another world. 2. Diablo, Rem, and Shera become members of the Adventurers Guild, but encounter a malfunctioning power measuring device when attempting to assess Diablo's level. Intrigued by this, Sylvie, the guildmaster, assigns them a quest to eliminate a Madara snake in the treacherous man-eating woods. During their mission, they are unexpectedly ambushed by a group of elves who disclose that Shera is the princess of Greenwood. These elves have been misled into believing that Diablo has enslaved her. Shera adamantly refuses to return home due to her brother's unwelcome pressure to marry him and bear his child. As the elves launch an attack on Diablo, he effortlessly vanquishes them. Meanwhile, Galuk, who had betrayed their location to the elves and holds a grudge against Diablo, emerges from hiding and scolds the elves for their failure, before retreating when Rem admonishes him. Shera instructs the elves to go back and convey to her brother that she will never return home. Diablo and Shera receive a quest to deliver refreshments to the guards stationed at the bridge of Olug. Emil Beichelberger, who mistakenly believes that Shera and Rem are unwilling slaves, initiates an attack on Diablo, but is swiftly defeated. Upon hearing an explanation from the girls, Emil departs. Continuing with their delivery, Diablo and Shera reach the guards who report an impending massive army of fallen. Recognizing that the guards are in grave danger without assistance, Diablo selflessly volunteers to defend the bridge. Meanwhile, back in the city, Celestine informs Rem that she has dismissed Galuk due to his actions, and expresses her suspicions that Diablo might actually be a fallen. Suddenly, Galuk bursts into the scene in a state of hysteria, demanding confirmation that he wasn't fired. In a shocking turn of events, Galuk impales himself with a cursed dagger, resulting in his body becoming possessed and transforming into the fallen known as Gregor. Diablo fearlessly takes on the hordes of fallen, defeating them one by one until their commander, Edelgard, emerges and challenges him to a duel. Gregor relentlessly pursues Celestine and Rem with the intention of eliminating Celestine and dismantling the protective barrier she established around the city. In a dire situation, Emil and a group of adventurers come to their defense. Despite Edelgard's efforts, Diablo proves to be resistant to significant harm. A messenger arrives and provides an update on the situation involving Gregor. In response, Diablo unleashes a colossal spell known as White Nova, obliterating the fallen army and a substantial portion of the surrounding land. To Diablo's astonishment, Edelgard is left stripped of clothing, but largely unscathed, acknowledging his power as a demon lord. Using his teleportation abilities, Diablo transports himself and Shera back in time to save Emil from certain death. Driven by a vengeful desire for justice against the countless victims harmed and killed by Gregor, Diablo subjects him to a humiliating display of magic until he pleads for mercy, after which Diablo ultimately ends his life. Following solemn funerals for those lost in the attack by Gregor, Shera, seeking to seduce Diablo, finds herself confronted by a jealous Rem. The situation takes another turn as Sylvie delivers a message warning that Shera must be returned to Greenwood within 10 days, or the consequences will escalate into a full-scale war. Upon discovering that Shera's own brother has placed a bounty on her, Diablo becomes infuriated. The group encounters Chester Ray Gulford, the city's lord, who implores them to make every effort to prevent an impending war as Shera adamantly refuses to return to Greenwood. Chester appoints Alicia Christella, an Imperial Knight, to join their cause and provide assistance. Sensing the need for close quarters combat against weaker adversaries, Diablo acquires a side to rely less on his magical abilities. Unfortunately, Shera falls victim to a group of bounty hunters who abduct her. However, with the collective efforts of the group, including Emil, Shera is successfully rescued. Alicia blames herself for the incident, expressing regret for not safeguarding Shera more effectively, but Diablo consoles her, urging her not to be too harsh on herself. Celestine guides the group towards the slave trader named Medios, who happens to be Celestine's former colleague in the study of magic. Their intention is to seek Medios' expertise regarding the removal of Rem and Shera's collars. Upon meeting Medios, she detects the presence of Krebsgulm within Rem, although Shera mistakenly interprets it as Medios claiming that Rem is pregnant. Medios clarifies that a master can eliminate the collar by channeling their magical energy into the slave's body. Diablo attempts this method with Shera, but feeling embarrassed by the overwhelmingly pleasurable sensation it produces for her, he abandons the attempt. Subsequently, Shera's brother, Kira, makes an appearance, expressing remorse for the actions of the bounty hunters. He then endeavors to convince Shera to return home with him. However, Shera firmly restates her decision not to return, prompting Kira to depart while assuring her that she will eventually choose to return willingly. Diablo reminisces about his childhood, where he was used and abandoned by many individuals he considered friends. While in the company of Shera, he discovers his knack for potion making. Meanwhile, Kira mesmerizes Shera with his flute, luring her away. Feeling dejected from yet another abandonment, Diablo becomes despondent. However, Rem and Alicia eventually realize that Shera was hypnotized and the group devises a plan to rescue her. Kira confines Shera and proceeds to interrogate her about her relationship with Diablo, disregarding her denial of any inappropriate behavior. To further torment her, Kira summons a slime creature that devours her clothes, preparing to assault her. Fortunately, the group arrives in time, having already defeated Kira's guards. Kira employs the flute once again to hypnotize Shera, coercing her to claim she wants to remain with him. Nevertheless, Diablo exercises his authority as the master of her collar, compelling her to speak the truth. Shera declares her desire to stay with Diablo and Rem. Enraged, Kira summons a formidable creature known as the Force Hydra. Diablo emerges victorious over the Force Hydra, managing to defeat it by completely reducing it to ashes, despite its ability to regenerate. Shera pleads with Diablo to spare Kira, emphasizing their familial bond, and Diablo reluctantly agrees. However, before any action can be taken, Chester suddenly appears and swiftly decapitates Kira. Seizing the opportunity, Chester commands his army to round up the already weakened elf troops and makes an attempt to capture Shera, proclaiming his intentions to conquer Greenwood. Chester cunningly entraps Diablo within an energy sphere, rendering him powerless, and shatters Alicia's sword when she tries to protect Shera. Nevertheless, Diablo manages to break free from his confinement and engages in a fierce battle with Chester. The opponents prove to be evenly matched, but Diablo narrowly emerges as the victor. Realizing the consequences of his unethical actions, Alicia threatens to report Chester to the king, prompting him to surrender and retreat with his troops. The group tends to the wounded elf troops, utilizing potions to heal their injuries and provides solace to Shera, who mourns the loss of her brother. Later on, Sylvie offers a revitalizing drink to the exhausted Diablo, intending to restore his energy. However, Diablo becomes inebriated and mistakes Sylvie for a body pillow. He proceeds to grab and caress her, causing her great embarrassment. While in the presence of the king, Alicia unexpectedly encounters Sadler, an arrogant paladin who is en route to Faltra City to investigate Diablo. Meanwhile, Shera utilizes her powers to summon a bird known as a turkey shot and attaches a collar to it. Diablo takes this opportunity to instruct Shera on utilizing the turkey shot's unique ability to share its visual perspective with its owner, thereby enhancing her archery skills. During a peaceful moment, when Shera and Rem are bathing in a river, Edelgard makes her appearance, assuring them that she harbors no intention of engaging in combat. Instead, she seeks confirmation that Rem carries within her the entity known as Krebsgulm. The duo explains Rem's situation to Shera, who pledges her assistance. Edelgard proceeds to elucidate a ritual that is to take place at Starfall Tower in 3 days, offering a solution to remove Krebsgolm without causing harm to Rem. Having reached an agreement, Edelgard departs. As the designated time arrives, Alicia returns and delivers a warning about Sadler. Despite their efforts to evade him, Sadler and his followers manage to locate their whereabouts. Sadler proceeds to condemn Diablo's companions for associating with a demon lord and inflicts injuries upon Rem using his magical abilities. He then attempts to petrify Diablo, but Diablo skillfully reflects the spell, turning Sadler into stone instead. Determined to continue their mission, the group proceeds towards Starfall Tower. Edelgard provides an explanation that Diablo must transfer his magical energy to release Krebsgolm through Rem's vast area. Despite feeling embarrassed, Diablo musters the courage to carry out the task. Initially, a monstrous and towering demon emerges, but it undergoes a transformation, eventually taking the form of a cute little girl. Krebsgolm suffers from amnesia, but when Shera offers her biscuits to eat, she becomes enamored with the taste and decides against annihilating the mortal beings. Alicia voices her objections, yet Edelgard remains devoted to Krebsgolm and accepts this outcome. Feeling disappointed by Krebsgolm's diminished power and her refusal to engage in violence, a fallen named Ulrix appears and launches an attack. However, Edelgard and Diablo manage to repel the assailant, forcing him to retreat. As they approach Fultra City, Edelgard takes her leave since fallen beings are unwelcome there. To prevent panic, they decide to change Krebsgolm's name to Clem. Exhausted, Diablo finds himself embarrassed when both Shera and Clem undress and rub against him to contribute their magical energy. In a private moment, Alicia reflects on her own past, recalling the torment inflicted upon her by abusive parents and superiors. Consequently, she yearns for Krebsgolm to eradicate all mortal races. Meanwhile, Sadler regains his corporeal form and vows to seek revenge. The group informs Celestine about Clem, and she expresses her joy upon learning that the Demon Lord is not inherently evil. Unfortunately, Alicia betrays Rem and Clem to Sadler while being separated from Shera and Diablo, resulting in their arrest. Alicia's intention is to subject Clem to traumatic experiences in an effort to restore her to her true nature. Sadler transports them to a church where his plan involves torturing Rem until she confesses to worshipping a demon lord. Meanwhile, Diablo and Shera embark on a search mission to locate their captured companions. Concurrently, a massive army of fallen beings marches towards Fultra City. In a brave attempt to shield Rem from harm, Clem endeavors to protect her. However, when Sadler tries to strike Clem, Rem selflessly takes the blow, receiving multiple impalements. This tragic event causes Clem to snap, reverting to her original demonic form. She retaliates by killing Sadler and unleashing destruction upon the church. In the midst of Clem's rampage, Diablo and Shera finally arrive at the scene, ready to intervene. Alicia becomes a part of the army of fallen, and alongside Edelgard and Ulrix, they rejoice in the return of the true Krebsgolm. While Shera tends to Rem's injuries using potions, Diablo engages in a battle against Krebsgolm, inflicting substantial damage upon her but unable to defeat her entirely. Emil comes to the rescue, shielding the girls from debris. To everyone's relief, Rem reveals that she is unharmed, prompting Krebsgolm to transform back into the innocent little girl, Clem. The army of fallen turns against Alicia due to her perceived failure, yet Edelgard holds them off and advises Alicia to flee. Sylvie, driven by the destruction caused, attempts to kill Clem. However, she relents when Diablo casts a spell, binding Clem to him as a slave and manifesting a collar around her neck, ensuring her obedience as a slave to her master. Later, Alicia reappears, having secretly brought an injured Edelgard, who had fought off other fallen, into the city. She implores Clem to heal Edelgard, and Clem complies. Clem then commands Edelgard never to harm mortals again. Curious, Rem questions Alicia about her motivations, leading Alicia to reveal her own past suffering and her desire to eradicate the mortal races. Overwhelmed by her inner turmoil, Alicia attempts suicide, but Diablo intervenes, urging her to discover a new purpose to live for. Moved by his words, Rem forgives Alicia. Exhausted, Diablo collapses, and he experiences embarrassment when all 5 girls undress and rub against him, offering their magical energy as a donation. The following day, Edelgard disguises herself as a human and mingles among the people. Alicia embarks on a new journey, while Shera and Rem ask Diablo to choose one of them to kiss. However, Diablo asserts his identity as a demon lord, refusing to comply and stating that he only does what he desires.